Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to explain Linux control groups or cgroups. And you know why this matters? Because every time you deploy a container, you are relying on cgroups to keep that process from stealing all your CPU and RAM. If you do not understand how they work, you are essentially flying blind when your production systems hit a resource bottleneck. Let us break down the technology that makes modern containerization possible. This is the foundation of cloud-native computing. We have a packed agenda today. Specifically, we will cover the resource contention problem, define cgroups using a physical analogy, look at the V2 architecture, walk through hands-on hierarchy configuration, discuss production resource patterns, and finally, look at troubleshooting common kernel pitfalls. Watch the full video without skipping any content to understand it better. Before we get into the topic, a small request to you. I have already uploaded many technical videos on different technologies and tools. We share more knowledgeable content every day. So if you are interested in learning and want to improve your skills, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and joined our WhatsApp community. The join link is available in the description or scan the QR code shown on the screen. Let us get started. So why do we even need cgroups? Think about a shared server running a web application, a database, and a background batch job. Without cgroups, if that batch job goes into an infinite loop or starts a massive memory leak, it will consume every available byte of RAM on the system. The kernel will eventually be forced to invoke the OOM killer or out-of-memory killer to start terminating random processes just to stay alive. That is a disaster for production uptime. So what is a control group? Really, it is a mechanism for organizing processes into groups. Think of it like a hotel's power management system. Each room in the hotel is a process running on your server. The group is like the breaker panel for each room. It ensures that even if one guest decides to run 3 space heaters, they cannot draw more current than their specific room is allowed. It keeps the rest of the hotel running smoothly, regardless of what is happening inside individual rooms. Before we get into the terminal, you need to be prepared. You need a Linux system with a reasonably modern kernel, at least version 5.2, to fully utilize the cgroups V2 features we are discussing today. You absolutely need root or sudo privileges because you are modifying the kernel's view of the system. Make sure you have the cgroup tools installed and verify your kernel version using the command shown on screen. If you are on a standard server distribution, you likely already have this ready to go. Take a moment to review each point shown on screen. How does the architecture work internally? In groups V2, we have a single unified hierarchy. Everything starts at the root, which is managed by the kernel. Under that, we typically see systems organizing services into slices. Your specific application process then lives in a leaf node of this tree where the resource constraints are finally enforced. Now, how does it actually work internally? In the older V1 version, you had separate hierarchies for CPU, memory, and devices. It was chaotic. In version 2, we moved to a unified hierarchy. It is a single tree. You delegate resource controllers from the root down to the child groups. The critical rule is that processes can only be attached to the leaf nodes. This makes the accounting clean and prevents the complex race conditions that plague the first generation of control groups. To create a cgroup, you simply create a directory in the control group file system. On line 1, we use sudo to create a new directory inside the root cgroup mount point. On line 2, we list the contents to verify that the kernel has automatically populated that directory with configuration files for memory, CPU, and other controllers. You should see a list of files like this. The grouprox file is where you add process, IDs, and memory max is where you set the limit. This confirms the kernel has recognized your new group. Let us apply a limit. Line 1 sets the memory maximum to 100 megabytes by writing the bytes to the memory max file. Line 2 uses the shell variable for the current process, id, and writes it into this group procs file. Your current shell and any child process it starts is now restricted to that 100 megabyte limit. The output confirms the values were written successfully. If you try to allocate more than 100 megabytes now, the kernel will immediately kill the process. In production, you do not manage these manually. You write system unit files. Here, we define a memory limit of 502 megabytes and a CPU quota of 50% for our data processor service. System manages the cgroup creation and cleanup for you, which is the professional standard. When you check the status, system shows the live memory usage versus the limit we just set. This is how you ensure your microservices do not crash the host. Consider a global logistics provider. They were running 500 microservices on shared hardware. Every week, one service would leak memory, triggering a cascade that took down the entire node. By implementing strict group limits, they stopped the bleeding. They saved thousands of dollars in emergency downtime and improved their hardware density significantly. If you see this permission denied error, it is because you are trying to write to the kernel file system without root privileges. You must use sudo with the t command, as standard redirection does not inherit the root privilege of your shell. The fix is to use sudo with t. Also, remember to provide the limit in bytes, not megabytes, as the kernel expects raw byte counts. So when should you use this? If you are managing shared infrastructure, cgroups are mandatory. Use them to fence off processes. However, if you are using Kubernetes, do not touch these manually. Kubernetes manages the cgroups for you. If you go behind its back and change the settings, you will cause race conditions and unstable behavior. Use these criteria to decide if this tool is right for your situation. To wrap up, remember that cgroups are the foundation of isolation. Version 2 is the standard, offering a unified hierarchy. Always prefer system over manual directory manipulation for production services. Base your limits on real-world data, not guesses. And finally, respect your orchestrator. Do not manually override cgroups on managed nodes. This will keep your system stable and predictable. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you like the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.